or tune it in the sun. This is TFM. Get ready to rock. From AM to PM. Come on. Let's talk.
TFM 95.4.
Let's talk.
Live on TFM and the TFM Facebook page. This is the live feed of TTV. Let's talk.
Hello and welcome to the Midday Update. Here's the latest update from our newsroom. More than 90% of people in Oman who have tested positive for COVID-19 have successfully recovered from the disease, a figure that is 30% higher than the global recovery rate. According to statistics released by the Ministry of Health, the total number of coronavirus cases in the country as of August 8 was 81,357, of which 73,481 have recovered, pointing to a recovery of 90.3%. Globally, figures from Johns Hopkins Coronavirus Resource Center put the number of infections worldwide at 19.4 million, with recovery standing at about 11.77 million, which means the rate of recovery across the globe is 60.3%. In Oman, 509 people have died due to infection from the virus as of August 8, an amount that accounts for only 0.07% of global deaths, which came to 721,906. The Ministry of Health's epidemiological report for July noted that the peak of the virus in the governorate of Muscat was in the middle of June, while it peaked in other 10 governorates in July. The curve shows that the 7-day moving average of COVID-19 cases in Oman reached its peak in the first week of July 2020 at a rate of 2,000 cases and then began to decline gradually until the average incidence in July reached 1,000 cases at a decreased rate of 500 cases per week, according to the report. It also mentioned that the peak of cases was in Muscat Governorate in the last half of June and was then followed by the other governorates, which reached their peaks in mid-July. The peak of admissions in hospitals in general and in ICUs in particular was during the third week of July. It's time for a quick commercial break, but stay tuned as we have more updates your way. Welcome back to Midday Update. His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq made a phone call to President of Lebanon, Michel Aoun, on Wednesday. During the call, His Majesty expressed his sincere condolences and sympathy to President Aoun and the people of Lebanon on victims of the explosion at Beirut port, wishing the injured a speedy recovery. His Majesty the Sultan also expressed the Sultan's solidarity with the Lebanese Republic over this incident, praying to the Almighty Allah that the Lebanese people overcome this ordeal. His Majesty also prayed to the Almighty Allah to grant the Lebanese people permanent peace and stability and protect them against all harms. On his turn, the Lebanese President expressed his thanks for His Majesty's good initiative and noble feelings, as well as his appreciation for the Sultanate's stance and solidarity with the Lebanese Republic. He also expressed his best wishes to His Majesty and the Omani people. On Saturday, the Public Authority for Civil Aviation issued a statement noting that the tropical storm over Arabian Sea. The analysis by the National Multi-Hazards Early Warning Center and the outputs of the numerical forecast models indicate a continued flow of clouds accompanying the tropical storm, with the chances of rain of varying intensity that may be thunderstorms sometimes over the governorates of Muscat, South Sharqiya, North Sharqiya, and Al Hajar Mountains from Saturday morning to Monday morning. The intensity of rainfall may range from 20 to 50 millimeters, with the flow of the valleys accompanied by active to very fast winds that may lead to the rise of dust and decrease horizontal visibility. The sea continues to be rough on all coasts of the Sultanate, and its maximum height of the waves ranges between 3 to 5 meters. The PACA has called upon everyone to take precautions during the thunderstorms, not to cross valleys, avoid low places, and avoid being near the sea. In regards to the weather condition in the Sultanate, a fine of up to Omani Riyal 500 and 3 months imprisonment for anyone who risks crossing the valleys, an official from the Royal Oman Police has said. Major Muhammad al-Hashami confirmed to the Times of Oman about the tropical storm that the Sultanate may witness heavy rains in most of the governorates, as a result of which valleys and reefs flow. He said that while speaking to Times of Oman that there are deterrent penalties for anyone who risks crossing the valleys, with a fine of up to 500 Omani Riyals and 3 months in prison. The ROP will not tolerate those who risk crossing the valleys and exposing themselves and others to danger. Al-Hashami concluded by saying, community awareness is required for all individuals, whether citizens or residents, and everyone must follow safety procedures and warnings of official authorities regarding climatic conditions. Starting 8 August, Indian nationals flying home from Oman and other countries during the COVID-19 pandemic can avoid the mandatory 14-day quarantine if they test negative for the disease before flying home and present these results to the authorities upon landing. The new guidelines were issued by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare of the Government of India as part of its rules for international arrivals coming to the country. According to the guidelines, all travels should submit self-declaration form on the online portal, which is www.newdelhiairport.in, at least 72 hours before the scheduled travel. Travels may also seek exemption from institutional quarantine by submitting a negative RT-PCR test report on arrival. This test should have been conducted within 96 hours prior to undertaking the journey. The test report should be uploaded on the portal of consideration. Each passenger shall also submit a declaration with respect to authenticity of the report and will be liable for criminal prosecution if found otherwise. The test report could also be produced upon arrival at the point of entry airport in India. Under current Indian quarantine regulations, passengers returning from abroad must spend the first 7 days of the quarantine period in a hospital, borne at their expenses, followed by 7 days at home. Exceptions are provided for people who are unable to commit to this, such as pregnant women, those who are seriously ill, have suffered a death in the family, or have elderly parents and/or young children at home. The ministry explained that if they wish to seek such exemption, they shall apply to the online portal at least 72 hours before boarding. Nearly 80,000 expatriate workers in Oman have left the country in the past 4 months, according to figures released by the government. According to data from the National Center for Statistics and Information, there has been a decrease of about 79,000 expatriates between the months of March and June 2020. This in large part due to many foreign nationals choosing to leave the Sultanate and make use of the repatriation efforts made by their governments, as well as airline operators, to return home during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Countries such as India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and the Philippines have organized repatriation flights for their citizens in Oman, while airlines operating in the country have organized flights at regular intervals to fly passengers to countries in Europe, Africa, and Southeast Asia. NCSI numbers of expatriate workers in the country also reflect that while Bangladeshis continue to make up the largest expat community in the country, their numbers have fallen significantly since March of this year. At the end of March 2020, there were 613,942 Bangladeshi nationals in Oman. By June, the number had fallen to 590,748, a decrease of about 23,000 people. Similarly, the number of Indian nationals in the country declined from 596,009 to 567,341 during the same period, corresponding to a decrease of nearly 29,000 expatriates from India. There was also a corresponding decrease in the number of overseas Pakistanis in Oman from 202,000 to 192,000, or a drop of significantly about 10,000 expats from Pakistan. These three major expat groups aside, the number of Filipinos in the country has decreased slightly from 48,541 in March to 47,537, reflecting a drop of about 1,000 people from the Philippines. There has also been a decrease in the number of other expatriate nationalities, such as those from Sri Lanka, Uganda, Nepal, and Egypt, to name a few, during the aforementioned period. The NCSI record of expat and Omani workers employed in the country includes those working in both private and public sector, as well as people employed by households in Oman. An Air India Express flight from Dubai to Calicut carrying 184 passengers, 2 pilots and 6 crew members crashed after overshooting the runway on Friday evening. The death toll in Friday evening's aircraft crash landing accident in southern India has risen to 18, with 123 others injured, a local police officer has informed. Private news agency Asian News International, known as ANI, quoted Malappuram's superintendent of police as saying that 18 dead, 123 injured, and 15 seriously injured in Kozhikode plane crash incident. Earlier, a top official of the Directorate General of Civil Aviation in India had said that at least 6 persons, including 2 pilots, had died in this mishap. The cause of the accident has not been announced yet, but media reports said that the pilot tried to land the aircraft amid heavy rains and it skidded off on the wet runway. The mishap took place at 7:41 p.m. Indian Standard Time when the Air Indian plane, a Boeing 737 with around 195 people, including 189 passengers and 6 crew members on board, skidded off the runway at Kozhikode Airport. The plane broke into 2 parts. In addition to that, to talk more about this mishap that happened in India lately, we have Mr. PM Jabir, Community Welfare Secretary at Indian Social Club, joining us right after this short commercial break. Welcome back to Midday Update, and we will be in conversation with Mr. PM Jabir, who will be talking more about the aftermath of the Calicut plane crash and the sentiments of the community in Oman and across the globe. Thank you so much, Mr. Jabir, for joining us in today's show.
My pleasure.
So, sir, talking about this unfortunate incident that happened on Friday evening, this year actually has been a series of incidents happening everywhere. We are still in the middle of the COVID-19 situation, and then the explosion in Lebanon on Tuesday, and now this plane crash on Friday. Sir, I would really like to know, what are the sentiments or reaction among the Indian community in Oman?
Kerala as such was facing not only COVID but the flood also. There were many landslides also. And this news came in midst of all these happenings. So it was with great shock and sadness that the community as a whole heard this news. It was indeed a shock to all, and disbelief. People could not believe that this could happen. That was the first reaction. Then people started collecting information. In the entire Kerala, news channels were giving the updated information. Now, as you have just said, that 18 people have lost their lives, including the pilot and co-pilot. It's still people have not come into terms with the tragedy.
So, Mr. Jabir, do you happen to know any families here who actually had their relatives or friends on this flight to Calicut?
So far, we have not come across anyone. We were checking with our network also. So far, we have not come across anyone in Oman as such. Of course, there are distant relatives, cousins, and from same village and all, but not any relatives, not so far.
So, besides Oman, do you happen to know any other expats whose relatives or friends were on this plane?
Yeah, I know. I personally know because I have close connections with the UAE. There are my many friends and other connections. So many personally, I know their relatives or friends have lost their lives. Especially one is it is in the Facebook one was the last moment post. It has gone viral everywhere. So most of us know all these people. I mean, personally in Dubai connections, yes, no many.
Well, our heartfelt condolences to the families who actually have lost their loved ones and to all those people who have seriously injured in this plane crash. I hope they recover soon and they are back on their feet again. It is indeed a very unfortunate incident that happened. I mean, the pilot, according to the media reports that we have been receiving, Mr. Jabir, it says the pilots, actually both pilot and co-pilot, tried their best to have a smooth landing, but because of the heavy rain, the plane actually got out of control and skidded off.
Yeah, this is the pilot. Now there are talks in Kerala with the pilot's bravery, and he saved all the lives. In fact, this could have been more than that. Only 18 people lost their lives, including him, because he was an experienced pilot. Now people are talking about declaring him as a state hero or the national hero because he sacrificed his own life. He switched off the engine. He did not even switched off the entire electric system so that the plane could not burst, did not burst. Otherwise, it could have been more. The tragedy could have been more intense. The pilot did a great thing, a pilot and the co-pilot, and we also we control all the control with the relatives, all those who have lost their job, lost their lives.
Right, Mr. Jabir, like you just mentioned that, this situation could have been worse than what we are seeing right now because, the speed of the plane when it's landing, it's still really, it's moving so fast that it actually could have been a big explosion and not just, the lives that have been saved by the bravery of the pilots on the plane is absolutely commendable. Mr. Jabir, there is actually another flight scheduled for Calicut from Oman that is going to take off tomorrow on Monday. Keeping the recent incident in view, what are the sentiments that you are feeling or seeing amongst the community in Oman?
See, obviously people are scared, but there's nothing to worry. So many flights have landed since then. Yesterday, there were flights from other countries like Sharjah and all. There is nothing to worry. This was not due to any runway issue or something. This was a technical issue. Now they are investigating it. There's nothing to worry. People have already gone and landed there. Obviously, there will be some kind of people will be scared to fly, but even then, there is nothing to scare because not many accidents have happened in the Calicut airport. It was sometime in '94 one east-west flight had a skidding. Otherwise, not many accidents have been reported. In spite of being a tabletop airport, there not much has been happened. So there is nothing to worry at all. I assure them there is nothing to worry. The government has assured there is nothing to worry at all. Authorities have already assured.
With that piece of advice that you have just given to people not to worry because everything is being taken care of, and like you just said, it was just an incident. It's not something that happens every now and then. And keeping all that in mind, Mr. Jabir, people are still a bit nervous and they are going to be a bit reluctant, because it is an incident that just took place like a few days ago. So what kind of advice you would like to give them to actually help them calm their nerves and be a bit more confident and take the flight as relaxed as possible?
Immediately after such an accident, it is obvious. Even if in a car accident, we will be shocked. But many flights have already, as I said, many flights have already landed. And the initial reports say there was nothing wrong with the runway, nothing wrong with the weather also. It was technical fault. So there is nothing to worry at all. And the flight is going full tomorrow also. Many are waiting for their turn to go to for use this Vande Bharat scheme. So still the flight is full. There is no seats vacant also. So it's nothing to worry at all because everywhere it is. Even in the other airports where such incidents have happened, the airports were opened after many days. This airport opened. Airport was opened yesterday immediately within 24 hours of the accident. So there is nothing to worry about the runway or anything.
Right. So the operation of the airport actually shows the confidence of the authorities, and people should also be confident in flying back to Calicut because, like you just said, that the maintenance, the airport was only closed for 24 hours for the maintenance. Everything is back on its track.
Indeed, yes. They opened it immediately without any. They checked, made some initial checks and opened the airport immediately.
Right. Mr. Jabir, what kind of relief efforts have you been coordinating with your fellow Keralites in the UAE and their countrymen in India?
We have been coordinating. First of all, we have been giving full information about the incident and who all were injured and where they were taken. It was through the social network and other networks we've been spreading details, giving details of the full information and the numbers to the sorry, the hotline numbers where the relatives could contact and get the information. Indian consulate immediately started a hotline, and in Kerala also, even Norca, Kerala government, even the authorities, the airport authorities started hotlines and started giving information. So we have been coordinating from here and Dubai. Dubai, we have the Norca helpline, non-resident Kerala Affairs helpline also started giving full information as to where and where the passengers are taken, what information could be, what other information they gave all such information. Now, after the incidents, we have started giving how to proceed with the claims. The Kerala government immediately announced 1 million rupees relief, and about the compensation, insurance compensation, we are starting now. The initial proceedings we have already started. How to go about it, and we are contacting the relatives.
Thank you, Mr. Jabir. We'll continue conversation with you, but we have to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back right after this break. Welcome back to Midday Update. We are still in conversation with Mr. Jabir about the aftermath of the plane crash that recently happened in Calicut on Friday. Mr. Jabir, talking about the relief and all the coordination and all the help that is being offered from the Indian Social Club in Oman to the UAE and elsewhere. I just wanted to ask you in general, as as you are the welfare secretary of the Indian Social Club in Oman, what kind of problems or what kind of concerns people are actually coming to you, especially in this time?
Ever since the COVID-19 epidemic started and the lockdown started, people have been coming with different issues. First, they wanted to know where the treatments or where the tests could be done. So we have been giving them information in coordination with the Embassy of India, and we have been collecting information from Ministry of Health and passing them the information where to go, how to get the treatment, or how to get the it was due to lockdown, people were not having any people were in need of food kits and other
Sorry,
essentials.
Mr. Jabir, I'm sorry, we are actually losing connection with you.
Yeah,
Could I think Mr. Jabir cannot hear us right now.
And reached out to all Indians.
Mr. Jabir, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, Mr. Jabir, I think there was a little internet connection that we faced from your end. So could you please repeat from the beginning? Sorry, sir, you were breaking off a lot in between.
COVID-19, we have been getting many requests even at the initial stages. That's mainly people were asking for where to get treatment, how to get tested and all. So we have been giving information after collecting this information from the Ministry of Health and through social network and through other sources. We have been giving them the full information about the helpline numbers, the government helpline numbers, Ministry of Helpline numbers, other helpline numbers, the embassy helpline numbers and all. And we have been helping them with the test and treatment. After that, after the lockdown started, people were desperate to have food because of the many daily wage workers were not having any income and they were in need of food kits. So we started distributing food kits with the help of the embassy. Mainly with the help of embassy, we reached out to with the association of all organizations organized. The approved and non-approved organizations. We reached out. Indian Social Club acted as the nodal office and started giving food kits to all in need. We were mainly targeting Indians, but even others who have approached us, we gave them food kits, mainly food kits. Every part of the Oman, all parts of Oman, especially the where it was where the lockdown was very strict. We reached out and we made teams. In the capital, the Dr. Satish Nambiar, our chairman himself, led this with the help of Mr. Sohail Khan, our committee member. And in the interior, it was through this community welfare network. We reached out to all Indians. We made sure nobody is starving because of this. We made sure everyone was getting food kits. And apart from food kits, we have been getting requests for medicines. And as you may be aware, I'm the director of Norca Welfare Board. Norca is a government of Kerala statutory body. So as that we made a team of volunteers everywhere, and through them we were reaching them. We were giving them even we have been giving them even medicines. So we've been getting requests for even medicines. So we made a medical team consisting of doctors and pharmacists. So you see, there were many patients here who were getting medicines from India. So we made sure they were getting medicines, substitutes, or with the help of Norca, we made courier services to bring medicines. Well, it was not sufficient, but we made sure they were provided medicines and all, and food kits and other essentials. Even families were, for their children, they wanted milk, diapers, everything. So we made sure nobody is starving, nobody is deprived of any essentials. That was the initial things. And after that, people started desperately, they wanted to go back. I did not know there were so many patients. There were for people with compelling reasons. We made sure after Vande Bharat the scheme started, we made lists and submitted to Indian embassy and told them this many Indians are here. And embassy also started the registration, but as the network, we started submitting them the list with the compelling reasons, list of people with compelling reasons. I never knew there were so many patients. People were getting treatment in India, coming to Oman for their jobs, going back after 3 months, getting again treated, coming back with medicines and all. So there were such people were in with great difficult. So we provided them all this. We wanted them to be repatriated, and there were many pregnant women, elderly. So this was the priorities for we made sure they were sent back, but there were many less flights. So the charter flights also, the organization started charter flights also. The Indian Social Club ourselves, we ourselves operated 33 flights to different destinations of India, and the Kerala-based organizations, every organization was making chartering flights and sending people to Kerala. There are still many people, but these were the priorities we set during this period. The food, medicines, sending them back, repatriating those who were on compelling reasons. So we made sure nobody is in so much difficult situation.
Well, that's quite a huge list of welfare and relief work that you, along with the authorities and the Embassy of India in Oman, you have been doing. So hats off to you, sir, for actually being out there for not just for the community members. Like you said, you were there for everyone who actually needed the assistance in terms of food supplies. I actually wanted to ask Mr. Jabir, are you still continuing with this relief work, or has it come to an end because the situation is getting better in Oman?
We are getting still requests. Many people have not started going to work, but those who have lost jobs are still here. So we are still getting request and providing them with food and medicine. See, on a daily basis, I was getting, and in the peak of this lockdown and COVID, I was getting about 170 calls average a day and 300 plus WhatsApp messages. Now it has reduced, but we're still getting requests, and even for repatriation, we are still getting requests. So mainly the Kerala, the requests from Kerala people have reduced, but other destinations like other parts of India, we are still getting requests for repatriation because some states have not started allowing flights to land, and there are many restrictions also. Fortunately, yesterday the India government announced there are the quarantine could be. I mean, if it is the person is tested negative, there was no need for quarantine. So even then, there are many people. We are still getting requests.
Thank you, Mr. Jabir. Talking about all the great work that the Indian Social Club and the Embassy of India has done for the people in the country, what is the piece of advice you would like to give out to those who are actually still struggling and still in the midst of these tough times?
I've been telling people be patient because this was an unexpected. Nobody in the world expected such a situation. The best thing is the communities came together everywhere. Communities came together and reached out to the less fortunate. So I've been asking people to be patient. Still, I ask people to be patient. And one advice I always have been telling was, please obey the rules. Please listen to the authorities. They are the best to give you advice. So listen to their advices and follow the rules. When you are asked to sit at home, please sit at home. Please use mask while going out, or please keep social distancing. I can only repeat, as everyone is telling, this time we shall pass, this time also. So please be patient, and we shall overcome. We certainly shall overcome this situation also.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jabir, for actually helping us end the show on such a positive note. Together, we all, I'm sure, can overcome this pandemic and everything is going to get better very soon. Thank you once again, Mr. Jabir, for joining us in our show today. It was indeed a very heartfelt conversation with you.
Thank you very much for giving me such an opportunity.
It's always our pleasure, sir. We'll be back again tomorrow with more updates your way, so stay tuned and keep watching TTV.
You've just heard the live feed from the TTV studios on TFM 95.4. Let's talk.